Welcome back to Unleashed. I'm your host, Jared Beeler. This is just going to be a quick update video. I just wanted to talk real fast. I am working on that other video, slowly, going through the process of it, talking about the whole digital realm that I was kind of referencing on the last one. And it's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. I've just been kind of hesitant on it, and I feel like I'm going to, if we have time anyways. But I'm still going through the work on that. It's going to be kind of an intricate video and stuff like that, but I want to give a little update. I'm praying this morning, right, reading the Bible, and I got caught surprised again by Ezekiel 12. I'm praying to God, God, how much longer do we got here? When are you coming back? We're pushing the boundaries, of everything that you talk to me about and stuff. And I know the New Testament, if you start pointing out like chapters or places like that, I instantly start having a mind. I know where it's at and what the discussion's going to be about and stuff like that, right? But in a lot of the older books and stuff like that in the Old Testament, not so much. So sometimes I'll have to have a memory refresher and such in certain areas. And Ezekiel 12 caught me by surprise last year. And I'm going to go over that real fast, exactly what happened in it. And it caught me by surprise again this morning. But I'd already gotten the vision, or not the vision, but the confirmation on May 13th last year, and I was talking to God, I shared it with my family and stuff like that, and there's stuff that I do not share with you guys, like right off the bat or at all, and but I talked to my family and stuff, but I've been praying about it, if you want me to share it with everybody. And I'm driving back that day, and I've been praying and asking for confirmation. It had been about a week since I had heard from him on that whole matter. And as I'm driving back, I'm asking God, do you want me to talk about it? I need some confirmation stuff, because I will, but I'm like, it's a big deal. And that was one of the first times that I had listened to Fig Tree Ministry, and he was talking, and just a random video that I picked, and it was right when I'm in the middle of the prayer, and I'm like, God, I need a sign if you want me to talk, and he just starts going off on the video that I'm listening to at the same time while I'm praying. Unleash the unleashing. I'm like, what? 100 times in a row, right? Unleash the unleashing. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, okay. So I get back down to the spot where I'm camping at, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, God, I'm like, that was pretty good sign right there, but I'm like, there's already been a bunch, but I'm like, this is such a big deal, especially when I'm saying that you're coming back, within a year. I'm about to read the Bible right now. I kind of delayed it that morning, and I'm like, but I'm about to read it right now, like I usually do, and I don't know what the next chapter is or whatever that I'm going to be reading about or anything like that, but if you could confirm in the Bible too, that you want me to talk to, you want me to share, I could really use that. I'm like, and I picked it up, right? And I don't just randomly jump around the Bible when I'm in a chapter moving through. I usually move all the way to Revelations, and I'm reading everything along the way, right? And I was only reading one chapter that day, and I wasn't sure, but I was like, God, I'm like, you just gave me that confirmation like 5 minutes ago, but if you could give me something else, I could really use it. And without even knowing what I was about to read, in Ezekiel 12, which is a chapter that literally stands out when I read this to you guys, from the rest of the Bible. Out of all the things that could have been on the one day that I'm reading after I just got a confirmation and asking for one more in the Bible on the only chapter I was going to read that day, to get a chapter that stands out completely out of the Bible on the very subject matter that we're talking about at the same time, it's infinitely impossible. All the confirmation, you can't really put a number on it. It's insane. But I'm going to read this to you again, and I read it this morning while I was praying to God, asking about the same thing yet again on another 13th of the month, and I can't figure that out. Every time that I've got confirmations and stuff like this, it's September 13th, it's May 13th, June 13th now, but Ezekiel 12, and we're in verse 21. There will be no delay. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, what is that proverb you have in the land of Israel? The days go by and every vision comes to nothing. Say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. I'm going to put an end to this proverb, and they will no longer quote this in Israel. Say to them, the days are near when every vision will be fulfilled, for there will no more false visions or flattering divinations among the people of Israel, but I, the Lord, will speak what I will, and it shall be fulfilled without delay. For in your days, you rebellious people, I will fulfill whatever I say, declares the sovereign Lord. The word of the Lord came to me. Son of man, Israelites are saying the visions he sees is for many years from now, and prophecies about the distant future. Therefore say to them, this is what the sovereign Lord says. None of my words will be delayed any longer. Whatever I say will be fulfilled, declares the sovereign Lord. Right? And that is what I got last year, right? And it totally caught me off guard. I'm like, wow, if that's not a confirmation, I don't know what is. I'm like, there's no other chapter like that in the entire Bible, where he's like, nope, no delay, it's right now, and say that it is. Right when I'm asking for a confirmation, talking about that exact same thing, that time's up, right? The chances are astronomical, as well as everything else. I mean, you guys know about what I asked for the confirmation. It was under the piece of glass. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And as well as what my little brother got and stuff, right? And other people out there as well that have, prayed and asked and stuff like that and got their own. I know that it's a second away. And this morning I'm praying about it again, and completely to my surprise, without even knowing, because I completely forgot about Ezekiel 12, I thinking about the same thing, and then that jumps out right there, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I'm like, wow. It really is. It really is, like, it put me in a good mood, like, instantly, because it's a confirmation, really, to me, that he's going to do exactly what he said, and it's absolutely moments away, and I don't know exactly how this is going to roll out or unfold or anything like that, but I know that it's literally moments away. We can't go on into next year and stuff anyways, the way that things are. I was just talking about this the other day, and like, I think it was in Russia or whatever, and I was listening before, and I was like, yeah, it's a good reminder, you miss one planting season, and millions and millions of people died, right? And we're missing planting season in every country all over the world, not to mention the economic crash and stuff like that that's happening, that they're doing on purpose, right? But we're missing them all over the world. There isn't going to be next year. There's going to be absolute disaster, and of course it's going to be worldwide, right? Millions and billions of people are going to pay the price for this. Well, that's going to fit right into the Revelation, exactly what the start of it looks like and everything else. So, it's not going on any longer. What God said is going to happen. It's really taking place. We're really in that time, and what day this is going to fall on, I don't know. I did tell you that this was a leap year, so there's 30 more days that are added. Will it happen before July? Will that 10 mean the next month, which is the 10th month from the civil new year? To Maz or whatever, the month of that, which will be in July this year. Will that fall into that? I don't know. All I know is that it's super close. I feel like I just got another confirmation this morning on that in Ezekiel 12 yet again. Exactly like a year later, and I get caught off guard by that same chapter again, discussing it and asking for a confirmation to share with you guys in the first place that time's up, And I thought that was really encouraging. I just kind of wanted to share that. So this is kind of just a little update video. I had a lot of you guys asking questions about dinosaurs because I mentioned that in the last video. I realize that you guys jump in different places when you first discover me and you're listening to me and stuff like that. There is not really too many topics that I have not discussed on this channel. And, I title them the best so that you can kind of discover it and find it and stuff like that. But what started my whole gift of knowledge in the first place was I was at a friend's house. I was staying there. I was sleeping on the floor. I was homeless, sort of, and I was staying there, and I'm talking to God that night on the floor, and I said, God, I understand that, that the Bible, when you add up the names of the people and everything like that, and the dates and stuff, that it only goes back 6,000 years, right? And but I know that what they say about dinosaurs and stuff like that, which are all real as well, that when they talk about their dates, they go back millions of years. And I'm like, I don't understand how that's possible. If you could tell me or show me so that it would make sense, I would love to know. But even if you don't, God, I would love to know personally. But even if you don't, I'll choose to follow you and believe what the Bible says over what any scientist or anything says. Right? I gave him the trust first, without even having the proof of the facts, which is the opposite of what the world does. Right? And looking at this third perspective on him answering this prayer, I can see that, you give God the glory first, you give him the trust first, you give him the faith first, and then he delivers. The opposite of what the world does with, like, we want the facts first, right, and then we'll believe. I told him that night. Well, the next day, my friend walks in that morning. He's like, dude, I got these 6 videos you gotta see, man. It's about dinosaurs, how they actually were with us, they live with us, and it doesn't go back millions of years. It's only about 6,000 years older. I'm like, you've gotta be kidding me. Which is what I had just prayed about the night before, right? And this tapped the well. Boom. And from that day forward, it's never stopped. Every bit of information, things that I need to know about, areas, locations, people opening up to me and they don't to other people and stuff like that. I'm always in the right place at the right time, and I've been able to bring forth all this information to people and stuff, all right, over the years. I'm 39 years old now, and this happened when I think I was, when I was 21. It was about 20 years ago. And you guys want to know about dinosaurs or whatever, and I mean I've discussed it like off and on in different videos and stuff, so I'm just going to briefly touch over it. Were dinosaurs millions of years old? No, absolutely not. They lived during the time before the flood, and there was still some that were after, some that were either born, hatched, or somehow survived it or something like that. But the stories of thunderbirds the Indians deal with, which are pterodactyls and stuff, and other pictures where they actually have them, including dinosaur, the long neck that lived in the swamps in Africa in a really bug-infested area called Mokele and Bimbi that the tribes knew about. And when they flipped open a kid's book of dinosaurs, the tribes were all looking like, and oh my gosh, and they all started freaking out when they saw the long neck dinosaur, because that's what they had dealt with in the swamp and stuff, that are still there, still around and everything like that, right? Some of them, whatever reason, like Loki, the Loch Ness monster, it's all real dinosaurs, you know, that happen and stuff. Were these natural or creations? I think it's a combination of both, all right? Of showing pictures, and you can find them and stuff like that, you know, eagle heads, freaking gigantic ones, right? The oxygen levels and stuff like that were making creatures live longer, be bigger. Armadillos the size of Volkswagen Bug and stuff. These are normal animals that are created, all right? What about reptiles, which never stop growing their entire life? Yes, a lot of those Komodo dragons and stuff like that, you're going to have your stegosauruses and big dinosaurs, right? Lizards and things like that. But were all of them that way? I'm going to say no. I think there was DNA manipulation going on at the same way as there was with creating chimeras and stuff, your centaurs, minotaurs, and things like that, which are all real creatures, all right, which stems to your mermaids, Bigfoots, and everything else, all right. But were some of the dinosaurs, T-Rex and stuff like that, actually lizard manipulations and creations, which, you know, you'd think of, well, they'd only be able to live in that time with the oxygen levels the way they were and such and such. I'm going to have to say that I think that is a total possibility, and the reasons why is that there's still dinosaurs now. The story goes that the giants inside the planet have them as basically like attack dogs that they work with and they have, and inside isn't completely oxygen saturated or anything like that, which means they're still alive. They can still move around inside the very oxygen atmosphere that we have inside and outside the planet. And that tells me that they're a type of genetic modification animal, reptile, that they've messed around with the gene editing to make it the size and the things that it are, as well as a few different stories of military units that have dealt with raptors. And they're like attack dogs as well, where they're in there taking out a giant or some creatures or something like that, and they've discovered that they have raptors as pet as well, like attack dogs, and they say that they look like the movie, but they have feathers behind the back of their head or whatever. So, you know, like I say, on the dinosaurs and stuff like that, they find them all the time, tons all over the place. They still have fresh tissue, right? These are supposed to be millions of years old. You can find pictures of cowboys that have had to have their leg amputated with the cowboy boot and everything else still on them from the late 1800s, totally petrified, solid rock, right, in the right conditions. And this is only 120 years ago, right? It doesn't take very long for things to be petrified. So obviously you can see that, you know. So for them saying millions of years for dinosaurs and them finding fresh blood and T-Rexes, tissue, soft tissue, and all that stuff. And we're talking millions of years, numbers that they can't even comprehend themselves. It's absolutely asinine. It's totally ridiculous. They were with man. They walked with them. Your stories of dragons and things like that. It was all part of it. I'm completely against the gap theory. All right. So when you hear that, Steve Quayle and other people that teach that and stuff like that, it's completely false. God, just like God told me, and from you kind of heard from the last video when I started talking about the fifth dimension, speaking of Revelation, where time is compressed, future and past are all going together as one. We can't quite understand that just yet until we're in it. We don't have the drivers to understand that in the third dimension that we're in. But just like God told me in March of 2018, he folded time out from the middle. If you're going to take a fifth dimensional or higher being, obviously he's higher, and you're going to create a third dimension, you're no longer going to have the past and the present and the future all at one. It's going to be spread out. So if you think about it from that perspective, it also makes perfect sense. When he told me that he folded it out from the middle, past went back, forward, at the same time from his center location, because time flows every direction from him. He's the center of everything, right? And then that makes perfect sense, right? But the idea that it's been millions of years or anything like that, or anybody that says that, no, it's totally false, and it's a lack of faith as well, from what the Bible says, that what he created, this third dimension that we're in right now, I'm not talking about any sort of realm of time or anything like that in heaven, or what he created, or how long it is with the angels or anything like that, but during this realm that he created, this platform, this place that we live in right now, it's about 6,000 years exactly right now, all right, for this timeline that he has. And the dinosaurs and all that stuff were in that at the same time, all right, as well as other creatures, turtles, eagles, everything else. It was a totally different world, like Lord of the Rings, like huge animals that were gigantic. People were bigger back then too, as well, all right, living longer and stuff like that. But your dinosaurs were there at the same time. Some of them were normal animals, some were reptiles that were bigger just because of the environment they were living in. Oh, excuse me. And some of them, I believe, are creations, because they can still create them now, and they use them as like attack animals and stuff like that. So anyways, hopefully that helps some of you guys with your dinosaur questions that you wanted to know about, or whatever. But anyways, young Earth, all right. And I've pointed this out multiple different times. There's so many ways to look at it, from population doubling and the sun shrinking and the moon slipping away and everything else. I mean, there's just dozens, and the Earth's rotation slowing down. There's just one thing after another that points to it not being very long, okay? Yet again, threads of deceit. Those that teach that are going to be off in another area, right? They're not having the faith to believe what the Bible says. They're slipping into the gap theory, which is also going to be buddy-buddy with evolution, so they can all chummily get along. And then you'll start hearing them talking about how the tribulation is only 3.5 years, or it's a mid-trib rapture, all right? Threads of deceit. It'll catch up to them. When you're fundamentally flawed in one area, it'll cost you in another. It's just the price, okay? That's why it's so imperative and important to have your doctrine and what you believe and what you're teaching and stuff like that to be absolutely accurate, all right? Okay, so hopefully that answers a few questions on the whole dinosaur things that was in the comments, but that is what started it. That was the prayer that night that started my whole knowledge crusade. Even though I knew some stuff before that, and there are some other things about me and gifts and stuff like that that I had before that, that one opened up the door for knowledge that God gave me, and I wasn't asking for the gift of knowledge. It was just something that he gave me when I said that prayer, and I only asked so that I would know myself. And of course, that's not how it worked out at all. He's had me share it with everybody everywhere. So anyways, that's just where that came from. But anyways, I wanted to give a little encouraging message on Ezekiel 12. I thought it was neat reading that this morning, and it kind of cheered me up, especially when I was thinking about praying about it. And yet again, Ezekiel 12 caught me off guard. And that's neat, because that's exactly what I was praying, asking for a confirmation on the one chapter that I just happened to be reading next. And I asked for it within the next chapter, whatever it was. I wasn't sure. I just knew it was in Ezekiel. And I find it interesting. It's the one chapter that stands out completely out of the Bible, and being specifically for a topic on that subject. So that's interesting. But anyways, hope this is encouraging. All right. God bless. I'll catch you in someone unleashing. I'll see you in there. Bye.